Yeah, talking about leader, I think he reminds me a bit of Caps in a way that he thinks, in a way that he play, of how Caps was when he first joined Fnatic and things like this. However, I think Caps was lucky in the sense that he was able to play with people with experience and was able to teach him on how to be smart. I think leader, I see the same talent in leader, but with all Misfits is training and is playing, I don't see that he's gonna improve the same way, maybe.
So far, looking back at your long career, do you have a team where you go, this was my favorite team I played on so far?
I mean, there's multiple iteration of of Fnatic roster. The iteration with Puzu and with Reckless were a really fun iteration. You could see improvement, from spring to pre-summer, bootcamp type of thing. But yeah, I think after the more it went, the slower we were just improving as a team, basically. And it was the same thing in spring split. It's just the system of us improving and on how to improve was just not working out, I think.
Vladimir will never get nerfed. You will get an 0-5 Yasuo in every one of your ranked games. NA will win worlds.
Hey man, got trouble sleeping? Try Brain Effect Sleep.
What are you doing in my home?
Hello everyone, this is Darius from the Shotcaller, and today I'm joined by a French legend, a player who many consider the greatest Western player of all time. Too much of an intro. Currently in a bit of an interesting situation because, of course, you're not with Misfits anymore. I think we can say that on camera officially. After a very turbulent and rough season, I would assume. Let's just get right to the meat of everything. What kind of went wrong this year with Misfits from your perspective?
I think it felt like a bit of a cycle. Mm-hmm. In terms of spring we were with Jesses. There's no coaching staff, basically. I mean, we had Jesses and Pumandu, and it was basically it, but Pumandu was not speaking any English, so it was pretty much just Jesses. Obviously it didn't work out. So then Hussein came back from his job that he was doing with Mayhem and stuff. He came back, but wasn't followed, a bit of the games and stuff like this, but wasn't super invested in league. So he had to relearn and all these kind of things. So he came back for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. I think it was a bit better, for sure, honestly, as soon as he came back. And then in spring split after that we barely missed playoffs by 1 game or something like this. Then off season was the biggest fiasco ever. I don't want to go too much in details about it, but off season was a big fiasco, honestly. And then
okay, what is the stuff that you can't let us hanging completely? You went to Korea, right?
Yeah.
With was it Maxlaw or
no, with Hans.
Oh, right.
I mean, we just went there, but we went like separately, sort of. You know, I mean, we were in the same hotel, but at different times. Like I came in a week and a half before him, and then he stayed for a week and a few days, and I was there by myself for like 3 weeks. It was a bit too long to stay 3 weeks by yourself, honestly. Like next time, if I would go by myself, I would go for like 2 weeks probably. But there's some people that I knew, so I went out a bit. It was good for sure, but yeah, it was a bit of a fiasco. I think mostly in terms of preparation, going forward. Like, what's your actual plan to go into Summer Split? You know, that was the fiasco part of it. And so, I mean, I went in boot camp by myself, and then we just started practicing like 3 weeks before Summer Split or something like this. 2 weeks and a half, 3 weeks, I think.
Is that like a short time period for pre-split practice, or is that normal?
No, I think it's more than other teams. Yeah, other teams maybe practice like a week and a half, 2 weeks. I think G2 practice like maybe like 1 week before, or not even. So I don't like.
Yeah, fully.
Yeah,
Okay, good to know.
That's what I think happened. So yeah, it was like a bit of fiasco, and then I think beginning of Summer Split like looked good because I was playing really good individually myself, and I think we were just playing like with the break and everything, you know, like everyone was a bit refreshed, and like we were playing better for sure, like. So you could see like improvement, you know, like from spring to like pre-summer, you know, like bootcamp type of thing. But yeah, I think after the more it went, not the worse we got, but just the slower we were just improving as a team, basically. And it was the same thing in spring split. We were just like, it's just the system of us improving and on how to improve was just not working out, I think.
Was the team just not clicking, or were there other issues, just different way?
I think there's different issues maybe. Like I think, for example, I mean, for myself, like in spring splits, like I didn't have the best synergy with like Maxlor, for example, in spring. But after spring, like in summer, I would say that out of like everyone, I had like probably the best synergy with Maxlor. So like things just like change, you know, on like week to week, right? Yeah. Like because you play different champions and stuff like this, so depending of certain things, it can change, right? But like, yeah, I think going into summer, like I was pretty confident in myself. But I think we are just not very good at like adapting. I feel like we are not very good at adapting and improving as fast as everyone else was. Yeah, that was like probably like the core issue of the team.
And was that just like due to individual players being unable to adapt, or?
I think it's everything.
Okay.
Like this involves everything. It involves players maybe not being able to adapt fast enough. It involves, or we are improving from like reviews and our system on learning certain fundamentals of the game, like we are doing certain things that you can do on game-to-game basis, regardless of like team comps and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Like certain macro things, whether it is in the early game or mid game, certain setup plays, like we are not learning some fundamentals that we should be learning, and that I said like multiple times in the split. I think like just really learning basic shit, you know, like everyone knows. That's the thing, like everyone knows individually how do you play for certain things, but you need to be on the same page. So that's like anyone would tell you that have played for multiple teams. That's the annoying part of like switching teams, is that it's not that you have to relearn things, but you have to relearn them to make sure that everyone is on the same page, right? And I think that's a big part of what we are missing as well. It's like, I mean, obviously we all know how to play the game, but we just didn't know how to play the game together on certain aspect of the game. We are just not in sync with certain things. I think when we are going into like mid game, it was pretty good actually. Like mid to late, it was fine. It was not like insane, right? But it was, we were fine. But it was mostly like all early to mid, like synchro, early to mid synergy, yeah. That was maybe a bit lacking, but I don't think there's like anyone specific that is at fault. Like I think players are at fault, and I think also staff and management too. You know, it's just like a bit of everything.
Collective.
Yeah, it's everyone is at fault really. You know, like yeah.
When I remember us speaking on stream, I think it was in December last year, when you were like a day after you were officially announced or something like that, and you were of course very happy about the transfer, and you were very adamant about, hey, if I was gonna go with a new team, then it must be a team that I can see us winning a championship. And you were very adamant about this Misfits roster, of course, having huge potential, and a lot of people thought the same way. Yeah. It's a bit interesting, you know, to look at just the roster on paper. You, Max Lore, Forbiven, Hansama, Gorilla, you know, that's just top 3 minimum in each position, maybe, almost. I mean, or like top 4, I think people put you, guys put you.
I mean, I don't think like, I think it could be a good team. I don't know about like where do you put in terms of position, because I mean, my opinion about it is like, the thing is like your individual performance also match your team performance and vice versa.
Yeah.
So if you're good individually, it's gonna improve your team play, but if you're good as a team player, it's also gonna improve your individual performance. So yeah, I mean that's the way I see it in terms of, because like when you're, for example, in G2, like there's like this I don't know which, this interview of like Mickey X saying like he learned like in G2 he learned in this, like it's been not even 1 year, you know, but in this almost a split and a half, he learned the most out of his pro career, you know, in being in G2, right? But that's because they are just clicking so well together, and because they click so well, they are able to improve in very fast, right? And it was the same for us in the past with Fnatic, for example. Like we were clicking so well, and we didn't need to necessarily talk about things that maybe we need to talk in Misfits, right? Like for example, sometimes in team fight we just didn't need to say anything, you know, like we will just play team fight, like Healy or me didn't need to say, hey, I'm going on this guy, you know. It's just like everyone knew their targets, everyone knew what to do in the team fight. There's no need to say, hey, peel for me or stuff like this, you know. It's just like everyone knew their role within the fight, right? Sometimes there's obviously like fuck-ups here and there, right? But then we'll talk about it, whatever. And it's the same in G2. I feel like they're just having a lot of fun. They're just clicking so well, so it enables them to like learn a lot, and they are very good individually, obviously, so it makes them be able to improve a lot as a team and learn more than other teams.
Right. So if you could go back in time, like let's say during let's say the end of Spring Split, so you already know, hey, the roster has X issues, Misfits has X issues. Do you think you would be able to solve them now with the knowledge you have now, or was it an unsavable situation at that point already?
I think it would be hard, honestly, because I feel like I sort of still have the same view, like on it after, like during and after.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes it changes. You know, you have like a certain view while you're playing, and then you know, you just like the season is over or whatever. Or you just reflect on it, and then you're like, you know, like certain things changes. You know, like. But I still have like the same opinion about it on, I would change the things, right? And I think I communicated that, you know, multiple times on all the things to change, but I think we are just very slow at doing it. And if I would change it, maybe sometimes is maybe how I would communicate the things that I would change it, because like sometimes in like difficult times I would phrase things not in like a super bad way, but in a way that maybe I'm complaining, you know. So instead try to make them see it that this is the way, you know, more than it feels like I'm complaining and we should do this instead. Mm-hmm. So this will be like the only thing really that I would be changing, but I wouldn't change the idea of what I was saying. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Interesting. So what's the future holding for you right now? What's the situation for you personally?
Well, right now I'm the freest man in the world, you know, so no, so I'm just gonna see what do I do. Maybe if I do, you know, some analyst desk or other type of things. I mean, I'm streaming a bit. I'm playing. I'm streaming. I'm gonna start streaming a bit both in French and in English, and also I'm playing in-houses. That is actually really fun. Like we have like a Discord group of like a bunch of challenger players from like all bunch of leagues: German league, Spanish league, French league, etc. And there's more and more LEC pros that is coming into the Discord. Yesterday, for example, we played with there was Mithy and me in one team, and there's from LEC, there's other players, and we were playing against Nuke Duck and Perks, and it was like the funniest games I had in a while for sure. It might be because there's Gilius in my team as well, but it was for sure like the funniest games I had in a while, and it just reminds me of like it was like 4 years ago, because about 4 years ago, when we were in OG. There's like sort of the same thing. Sometimes we'll just go on TeamSpeak and just talk shit, and whenever there's Mithy and Gilius in the same TeamSpeak, it just became so funny. Like the conversation they have is just super hilarious. So we were just playing yesterday in houses, and it was really cool. Yeah, so I'm having a lot of fun. There's like games in the morning and games at night, but usually I play the one at 9, whether it's 9 or 10, and yeah, depending, like sometimes it's higher quality games, sometimes like it's regardless of like the quality is still better than solo queue, but yeah, I'm having a lot of fun playing in houses for now. And it's also good for me because I don't play scrims, right? So it's a good way to, you know, keep on playing and more like so keep on improving in terms of like matchups and all this type of things. So that's what I'm doing for now, and then I might be doing some stuff like later on, but I cannot say too much yet.
Of course. But in theory, like this isn't the end point or anything, right? Like you're still open to pro play, to sub in potentially for a team that qualifies for Worlds. I think that was like the tweet you sent out.
You cannot. So I think. I mean, I'm saying NA and Korea because. I was talking with Gorilla and stuff, but I think there's been roster lock already for those regions. And for EU, it was, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's like tomorrow or something like this. Or like it's, like either it was like yesterday or it's tomorrow, you know, it's like almost there, right? So the thing was because of the timing of when everything happened, it was not like too late, but the teams are pretty much set already, you know. They don't want to make a drastic change that might just change completely the dynamic of the team, right? So if not that, if this was not the reason, the other reason that was given is that they just don't have budget, because it's halfway through fucking summer split, so they don't have budget to get another player or things like this, right? So this was how it was like for summer split. So I think it's like to be playing is like very difficult, but eventually. If there's like, after I will see like the teams that qualify for Worlds and everything, I might just go and help out like a team that might qualify, whether it's like EU or NA or whatever. Like I will just see and talk to teams at this point, and if teams needs help, as I'm sure, teams might be fine right now, right? But then they start screaming for Worlds, and then it goes mental boom. And I know this happens, so yeah.
You're waiting for your time to shine and come in and save the day. So I saved the day. Oh, I can't wait. So make sure to DM Monsieur sOAZ in dire times of needs for Worlds, which will of course be new. Yeah, there's still like positional coaching, like for top lane and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not even like I just want to be active.
Yeah.
You know, like I just want to be active, and I'm not gonna demand like insane salary to like help teams at Worlds or anything like this. I just want to be active. If I have nothing to do in a day, I just feel really shit right now, you know, like, so I don't mind just helping out, really.
Maybe grind a bit of TFT as well.
TFT? Nah.
The current meta kind of sucks. I agree.
People say like some things got nerfed here and there, but I'm not sure. I think the game still have a long way to go.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I agree. Bring back Rangers, by the way. Thank you.
Did you got nerf as well?
Yeah, they got nerfed so hard after close beta. Not good, sadly. Anyway, since you have such a long span career, you're arguably based just on achievements, one of the, if not the most decorated players in the West. When I recently did a poll on who would you recognize as like the greatest Western player of all time, or the greatest European player of all time, and even though Perks won the poll, and you only came in fourth, I'm sorry. The other two were Caps and Reckless. A lot of people, especially like analysts and casters and people that have been with the scene for a long time, were very adamant that you should deserve that title for your longevity.
I mean, I think it's mainly because of the way I am. I am not the most how do you say?
Old school.
No. You know, it's like Reckless, Caps and stuff are very like likable and stuff like this.
Okay.
Like, you know.
They have good brands and stuff like that. Strong Instagram.
My brand is insane, honestly.
Okay.
I think people either just dislike me or like me, or it's harder to just dislike Caps and Reckless and I mean, it was the same thing for Perks actually, but because of like G2 or is G2 right now, you know, it's just like you just don't dislike a team that is winning, right? So there's just
you have to respect the medals.
Exactly. So as long as like you're winning, it's just hard to dislike. But it just comes and goes, you know. Like maybe you do same poll in fucking year from now and just completely different, you know. Maybe people say just the most random shit ever in next year because I don't know, like I don't know what the fuck happened, you know, like.
It changes quite a bit depending on plays, who wins.
Yeah, maybe Reckless do an interview and say I hate Reddit, and then he's not even in the poll anymore, you know, because people hate Reckless now because he said he dislikes someone.
Okay, I see. Yeah, perception changes.
Yeah, it's not so much about like what you did; it's just about if people just like you, you know.
That's the cold hard truth of a player. But despite that, do you have, so far looking back at your long career, do you have a team where you go, this was my favorite team I played on so far?
I mean, there's multiple iteration of like of Fnatic roster. The iteration of with Puzu and with Reckless were a really fun iteration.
That was which season? Must have been 4 since Reckless was in, I think, right?
I mean, there's like, I don't remember. I just remember like tournaments that we played. And then the first year of OG was really fun as well. And that's pretty much it.
Okay. I mean, I would have guessed the 2015 OG roster would have had to be in there.
Yeah, the first year of OG was really fun.
I mean, we don't talk about the other years,
Exactly.
But that one, World semifinals and everything. I mean, looking back on that roster in particular, it's a miracle how you guys went from I mean, all decorated players or proven players, sure, but from Challenger Series to World semis. I mean,
but it's so funny. Like people think of like the sort of like accomplishment, right? But people don't even know, like, we honestly barely even qualified to Challenger Series like at the beginning. So it might have been always, it might have been a really big failure as well, you know, like, but it was like one game close, you know. Imagine like you first to like qualify to LEC, you have to qualify to a Challenger Series, and so we were playing qualifiers for Challenger Series, and it's a best of 3, and the first game we lose, you know, and we are like 0-1 down, and yeah, I mean, but at the end of the day, I mean, it was still like a really fun experience of like, you know, living in Spain and stuff like this. Sometimes it was pretty shit, but looking back, it was a good experience for sure.
Yeah, it looks like a fun roster from the outside. I mean, all the video footage we as fans saw back then, you know, like...
I think it was also, honestly, like the transition of like, if I think of this time, it was the transition of like sort of a bit of old school league to like new league in the sense of like, in the sense of like caring and organization and stuff like this. So OG was probably the last sort of like player org, if I can say that.
Yeah.
Like, so there's a little more freedom. Yeah, I think that's why it was like fun as well.
And it looked very special from the outside as well, because it literally looked like, just 5 guys coming together, playing League of Legends, and then making it all the way. I hope, of course, a lot of fun memories there. One that I will always remember was your pentakill. I believe it was with Darius during Worlds.
During Worlds, yeah.
Was that one of your favorite moments, or do you have a specific moment in your career where you go, damn, that's the moment I was always remember? Maybe like the opening ceremony, Worlds 2018, being on that stage, season 1 maybe.
I don't know of like a particular moment, honestly. I think there's a lot of good moments, but I don't have like really like one that...
What about top 3? Like 3 moments that you really... if you can't pick one.
I mean, probably just like tournaments in general. One of the big one was DreamHack when we won against CLG EU back then, because they are considered to be like the best team, and we won against them. Then IPL 5, we came second. It was like just a really good tournament with like a really high quality of teams in general, and there's lots of games. Like there's so many games to play there. So it was really fun, and the fact that we managed to came second with like. We had to like wake up at like 7 a.m. or something like this, and then play a best of 3 or something, and then have like 20-minute break, and then play a best of 5 right after. That was like always the morning during the final of IPL 5. So this was like something. It was like, I mean, I really hated it like during the day, right? But looking back, it's a really good memory. And then, I mean, just all the memories of Worlds, honestly, like regardless of outcomes and stuff like this, just practicing for Worlds, and you know, it's like regardless of sometimes you just practice for Worlds, and as I was saying earlier, you know, some days you just play like RNG or something and you just go 0-6 and everyone is mental boom. But regardless of like the really bad days and things like this, looking back is just like, it's a good feeling to, you know, just participate and practicing to like do something at Worlds, you know. So probably this is like the good memories of for myself, yeah.
Working towards a huge goal,
Yeah,
effectively.
exactly, yeah.
Obviously the Fnatic, the recent Fnatic iterations that you were with 2017 and 2018, two Worlds runs that were special in their own regard. I mean, 2017 you guys were 0-4 and out of the tournament, and you make the comeback, the miracle run. And then what's 2018 was in its other way special.
Yeah, I mean, different for sure.
Different. That's the way to put it. What was the mood like after the 0-4, and how did that team manage to come back?
I think we were just. I mean, it was really bad. Obviously, it was absolutely trash, and I just don't know how we. Possibly, I mean, we are very lucky, you know, that we somehow had a chance to make it, and it just happened that we just won against NA.
Like you do.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it just happened, you know, but it was not looking very good.
And the mood in the gaming house wasn't very good either.
I mean, we were in China.
Yeah.
And we stayed at this hotel for like 2 months or something. Like it was. Imagine just being like, there's just nothing outside. There's just absolutely nothing. It's like the fucking desert or something. Like there's just nothing to do, and outside is just. Like the pollution was just really bad where we were, so it was like you had to like wear a mask or whatever, but there's just absolutely nothing to do outside, so we are just, and because we had to play planes during this year, so we had to come there quite a bit earlier, right, than other teams, so we stayed in this hotel for a pretty long time, like a month, I think, or something like this, so it was really draining, I think, like really draining not to be able to go outside. Like,
and not leave like the other people.
Not being able to get fresh air is, when you're in this kind of environment, I think is really bad, really draining, yeah.
Yeah, unlucky in that regard, I guess. Okay, so what if an organization comes to you and says, okay, we want to invest into LEC. We're going to take one of the other team's spots when we're going to make it sOAZ FC. If you could choose 5 players that aren't on G2 or Fnatic, okay? Besides G2 and Fnatic. And you couldn't choose any 5 players.
Why not Fnatic?
I mean, okay. Well, let's do it with them as well. Okay, it's good. You can also go. You can pick up players from Korea. You can pick up players from China. You can make your all-star team. It's fucking.
I cannot pick players from Korea or China because I don't have enough, or even NA. I don't have enough information. Aside from like maybe players that came to Worlds and I practiced quite a bit against.
I mean, I would say that Uzi is a pretty safe pick too.
Yeah, okay, but there's some players that I know more than others.
Right.
I cannot judge players from just watching them.
Yeah.
But
okay.
I can judge players if I played like 20 games against them, you know? It's
okay.
a bit different.
Arsenal FC or Manchester United comes into the league, gives you 100 million. You can buy whatever player you want, and you form the team.
I mean,
which players would you go for?
Uzi already is like taking half of this money already, so like. So
he gets a better sponsorship deal than the Nike one he already has. I don't know. It's the fairy, okay? It's the genie. He gives you all the wishes. Which 5 players would you choose? You're not allowed to pick yourself.
No, I mean, I think it's only fair if I would take people from Europe,
okay.
But I mean, obviously, like, I wouldn't take from G2 because like they are working so well together. So if I would know that this group of 5 would work so well together, then obviously you just pick these 5, right? It only makes sense. So if I cannot take from G2 and I can take from the rest, because I think regardless of Fnatic score within the league, I think a lot like maybe half of their their wins have been a bit iffy. You know, they are like up there in the rankings, but they don't look like a team that is gonna go far at Worlds yet. You know, like it seems like they still need to figure out things for them.
Yeah.
You know, so that's why, like I was saying earlier, you know, like why not Fnatic? Because I think they're up there in the ranking, but they still don't look like a top team quite yet.
I was saying that because I think there are individual players on Fnatic that you would like go, hey, these are minimum top 10 in the region, and then like it's harder to get them. But let's screw that. Literally any players, but you can't choose like 5 G2 players. I'm allowing you to pick G2 players as well, but only 2 G2 players at maximum. That's the only rule. Any players. You can also bring back Forgiven if you want to.
It's really hard. Like, I think all G2 are like, I mean, they are all very good, I think. But it's hard to choose because I think whether, because you say you can pick 2, right? But so I think, okay, do I go for like Caps Wonder, or do I go for like just bottom lane, right? But I think I will probably go. I think I go bottom lane.
Okay.
And because bottom lane is just too OP. And then I need to pick a really good jungle after that, because jungle is pretty OP as well. No, I mean, I'm a bit trolling, but I think I'll go for bottom lane anyways.
Okay, G2 bot lane.
G2 bot lane, yeah. And I mean, I need the list of like all the players after that. Mid lane. Mid lane.
Humanoid, Nuke Duck, Nemesis, Leader, Larson.
I mean, Humanoid, I guess. Jungler. I mean, if I cannot pick Jankos, like obviously, like also you just pick, you know, rest of G2, right? As I said, but if I cannot pick Jankos right now, I think the second best jungler by far is xerxes, I guess. So and you already have Synergy there, you know, with
Humanoid.
Yeah, so it's pretty decent. And then top laner, I think you have a lot of options, honestly. I think a lot of top laners this season are pretty decent. And all of the top teams, who else is there?
Alfari, Bwipo, Odoamne, Vizicachi.
I mean, I think with the team we have, we are not gonna be playing that much towards the top side. So I don't think I would go Bwipo. I think I would take someone that can do it all, you know. So I would probably go Alfari for sure, because I think out of all the players that I've seen and I've played against, I've seen Alfari being able to do it all, and some of the others didn't. So I know that Alfari can play. He can play carry, he can play self-sustaining, but he can also play tanks as well if needed or whatever. So he can do a lot more things. So he's more versatile. So I'll probably go Alfari for those.
Okay, cool. So top lane Alfari, jungle Xerxes, mid lane Humanoid, and bot lane Perks and Mickey. That's sOAZ FC. Do you think you could win the league with that roster? Because you know Perks and
It's gone by
but Perks and Mickey are not in G2 in that scenario.
Yeah, but okay. Well, okay. Let's say who is in G2 now? Who is the bot lane of G2?
I don't know. They pick up Hansama and they pick up, I don't know, support from they pick up DOS or I don't know, someone from National League.
Is just gonna be. I mean, it depends whether they match together or not. Just synergy is just so important right now. Like with all the game is like the game is just played very fast. Since the game is playing very fast, you're not able to communicate every single things in advance. So you need to click together, because sometimes, as I said, when you're not able to communicate, you need to know what the other is thinking and how you want to play certain things. So, yeah, synergy is very important right now.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's evident by quite a few teams as well, of course. I mean, G2 just have also phenomenal synergy and therefore work together.
It's just like, I feel like G2 is just like playing in a way. I mean, playing in a way that we were playing, with Fnatic is just like when you listen to their team fight comms or whatever, they don't really need to talk much about whatever. Like I'm sure in the early game or whatever, they are just, they are saying, what they need to do and stuff like this. But they have like such a good synergy that they need to do the minimum. At this point right now to be able to execute. But for them, I hope that they are not gonna fall sort of in the same trap as like in Fnatic, like we are the same, but I feel like we did that too much. And then when we are playing against like the best teams like IG and stuff like this, I felt like this was like sort of a really bad thing actually, like because I think it's a really bad habit actually, like, and right now it's like, oh, like look how easy, like they don't even need to talk or whatever, like and it looks very funny, and it was very funny for me to play as well, but I think it's a very bad habit, and I think they need to really pick it up again, like once Worlds is gonna come around, and really to focus on what's important for them to be the best team. Yeah.
Interesting. Are there any talents? We spoke a bit about a leader off camera, that you were very adamant about leader being very good.
Yeah.
Would you like to elaborate on why leader is actually a phenomenal player?
I sometimes when I have nothing to do, like, and I don't feel like playing solo queue or whatever, like we have a room that is like, we can watch games or whatever, and obviously I played scrims with him, like not that many games, but more than 10. And I watched their games, and we played against them like more than 25, 30 games.
I heard Misfits Academy had a positive win rate against you guys.
I think it's maybe like 50-50.
Okay.
I don't think it's like anywhere close. I think we were like playing against them, like I think we were much better, but maybe everyone have different views. Whatever.
Yeah, they had different views.
Maybe they have different views, but personally, I felt pretty confident and I felt much better.
Okay.
But talking about leader, I think he reminds me a bit of Caps in a way that he thinks, in a way that he play, of how Caps was when he first joined Fnatic and things like this. However, I think Caps was lucky in the sense that he was able to play with people with experience, and was able to teach him on how to be smart, right? And I think leader, I see the same talent in leader, but with all Misfits Academy, I mean Misfits is training and is playing. At least for now, I don't see him as I don't see that he's gonna improve the same way. Maybe I think I think Caps, as I said, like Caps was just very, very fortunate, and also like we one of the big things is that we are able to go to Worlds on his first year with Caps and Broxa, and so it was like a big experience for them, you know, to go to Worlds, get to practice against the best teams, and just have the Worlds experience, right? I think leader is not as fortunate in that sense. Like it's like a team of like not like rookies, right? But because some of them have like experience, but not like a world class experience, and they are playing a certain way that is not smart at all. So I think he needs. He's gonna, depending of whether he stay in the same team next year or he join some other teams, like, but depending of the experience that he's gonna gain, I can see him being like, you know, as good as people see Caps to, as good as people view Caps, exactly. Like, I mean, I think Caps is obviously really good, you know, but I think people can see leader the same way at some point in his career. I think he's really talented, but he needs to. When you have the talent, you need to be in the right environment and with the right people, I think, to grow, you know. And I don't think he have that for now.
Did you have that right environment right from the get-go, or were there? Like, I mean, you've been on so many teams in so many different environments that it must have been very up and down for you, no?
Not for me. It was not from the get-go. Like in the first year and a half, it was like. It was not like this, but I think I was fortunate when I joined Fnatic. I mean, we had like the same experience, but I was fortunate in the sense that the people that I was with had more sort of like life experience. Mm-hmm. Like for me, when I was like in my teams before that, it was very much, you know, like just flaming each other and this type of things, you know, and this type of things. And when I joined Fnatic with like back then with Lamia, Peke, Cyanide, etc. And Rated, they're just older than me and they are just more experienced, so it felt a lot better and I think it helped me a lot for sure. Yeah.
Because it's not just game stuff that you need to learn, but also life stuff that you need to learn as a 19-year-old.
Not life stuff necessarily in that sense, but things that correlate between the game and
like being professional towards
exactly. Being professional and just how to view certain things. I mean, I cannot pinpoint to like a particular thing, right? But I think it was very helpful in general.
The general attitude was very different.
Yeah.
And Rated is also it's so interesting because obviously now you look at certain people and players and look at how far they were. Score recently announced his retirement. Peke is now just doing Origin stuff, and Rated is, I think, working for Rogue now. Like, who was it? Wicked is now streaming TFT. Cyanide is. I don't know what Cyanide is doing. Like
he's making some videos,
Oh,
and
okay.
I don't know for what he's working, but I think okay. So I know he's studying right now, so
Sometimes when I do get to parties and like after show parties where players also are, a lot of them obviously, I find it very funny because like you stand in circles and then players talk shit about other players that are directly in front of them and go like, we should have beaten you in that one playoffs match and stuff like that. So there's always a lot of conversation about, remember those days or remember that tournament and stuff. Your first generation of players that you played with and played against, they're all not active anymore. Is that sometimes a bit weird?
no, it's just there's nothing like really weird about it. You just get used to just changes on every single year really. Yeah,
So you're like
because it was just gradually, it was not like just one day just everyone just vanished, like it was just slowly, right?
Yeah, but it feels like in the last like 2-3 years in particular, a lot of people that were in those early days of League have not been with League anymore.
I mean, I think it's ever since the game became more of a job and less of a hobby. A lot of people that started playing because they just really enjoyed it, just not playing, they are just not liking it as much because it's just more stressful, it's just more what do you say?
Tiring.
Yeah, I mean, it's just as a whole, it's just more of a job, like in all aspects, than how it was before. So I understand, why some people eventually just didn't like it as much, and everyone started at the beginning, and it was not because of how much money you are making or all these kind of things, because we are not making shit money, so people didn't mind, even though they are making a bit more money, they are just not feeling maybe as happy doing it, right? So
The attitude has changed.
Yeah.
And the game itself also.
It's just more. The more money is involved in something, the more things happen to it. It's more professional. It's just more because there's more money. People are just more, like on the. I don't know. It's difficult to explain. It's just a different vibe, different atmosphere to it, and it's not for everyone.
Is it a lot more serious, I would assume?
Yeah, it's a lot more serious. There's less fun moments. Yeah.
Unlucky, I guess. In that regard. I mean, if you're just in for the fun, if you're just in for the money,
people that are right now didn't experience how it was back then, so they cannot relate to it. For me, I have both experience, but a lot of people that started with like LCS and didn't play just like tournaments back then or this kind of things, or just joined LCS LEC not too long ago. It's different for them. It's just normal, It's just what they started off with. So for the people that started off differently and how it was became that, they just don't enjoy it,
Are there any organizations in EU that you look at and go, damn, those are really, really interesting? For example, like Refresh, obviously trying a lot of new things in League of Legends and stuff. And I don't know how much you still talk with like Mithy and stuff, but do you hear anything about that, or are you interested in that?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the two teams that I was interested already, like before the season started, in terms of like what they are doing and everything. I think was very, very interesting. And I think it's very good and very healthy for the team, for the league to do.
What exactly of what they're doing?
No, just like focusing a bit more on like players' health, like whether it's physical, but also to like the mental conditions of things. So I think it's very, very good, and yeah, I hope like more teams. I mean, not like teams, but more organizations just are a bit do things, a little bit better. That it pushes everyone in the right direction. Yeah.
Yeah, so it encourages other teams to follow suit in that regard. Of course, like health, both mental and physical, isn't wasn't always the hottest topic in esports, and then people got injuries and people got burnt out and stuff like that, and all of a sudden teams realize, hey, maybe that's a bad thing, and then teams start changing.
I don't know. I guess physical just really depends on like your posture and how you play. Like I've never had any back or wrist pain myself, even though I've been playing for so long. So I guess it really depends, and I don't know well enough in terms of CS:GO, because I know like people have been playing for way longer than I did. But I'm sure some players never had really any injury for all this time. So I think it depends on your posture and everything.
Fair. You were able to buy your mom / your parts of your family in an apartment in France, which was a huge goal, I was told. Was that like a very special moment for you, being able to do that?
I mean, it's not special yet, because it's like it's in the process, right? But I mean, once it's gonna be done, I will be happy. For now, it's just still on the process, so I'm just
keeping it low.
Yeah, keeping it low, just waiting. But I mean, for sure, it's just something that I've been thinking of, in the first few years, eventually to do something with what I'm doing, right? So I thought that the money that I was getting, I mean, I've always been told as like a kid or whatever, it's like, or by adults, when you have money, like probably the best way, if you don't really know that much to do with money, you just invest into a property, whether it's an apartment or a house or something like this. So I'm on my way to get an apartment, a big apartment for my mom, in France.
I mean, yeah, for sure, but also it's like I would say a bit different to buy something for yourself and like to invest for yourself and buying something for your mom.
It's kind of for both. I mean, I'm so little in France, and so I mean the apartment is gonna be big enough so I can have eventually. There's gonna be like a guest room or whatever that I'll just, if I will be in Bordeaux, I will just live there as well. Yeah.
Fair, but I mean, like, it's still like, there's a difference between buying a car for myself and buying my mom a car, like.
Yeah. I bought a car last year as well.
Oh, okay.
That year.
Well, what kind of car?
I don't, just like a
car.
normal car.
Okay. No Ferrari.
It was like a new car, but I don't remember. Like I'm really not big on cars, or not like really interested. She just she didn't have a car because her car was like really fucked up. I mean, not like fucked up, but wasn't working properly. So like if she would be repairing the car, it will cost basically almost more money than getting the same brand like that she had or whatever. So I just got her a new car, and she was really happy about it.
I think that's a very nice gesture as well, of course.
It's not nice. Like, I think it's just normal for your family or parents.
I mean, I would also argue it depends on your relationship.
You view it as nice, but I think for the people that do it, it's just normal. I'm sure if you had the money, you would find it normal to do it.
Fair.
Yeah.
I evidently not. But also, like people have obviously very different relationships with their parents. And stuff.
I mean, I'm not gonna buy.
Yeah.
Like no.
No.
Yeah.
A lot of yes and no's there. Good. Any advice you would give to younger players entering LEC? We obviously see a lot of EU mids still coming in, some ADC talent, some top lane talent even.
Advice. No, just talk to people. Don't be shy. To educate yourself, like in terms of like relations, but also whether it's more so doing off-season contracts, all these type of things, because often players are a bit, especially new players. I mean, I know like even older players sometimes, we tend to feel a bit lost in like what to do, because there's so much. I mean, we're just like a bit lost sometimes depending of the time of the year, right? And depending of situations. So don't be afraid to like, ask players or other people that in the scene for advice, really. I think that's probably the biggest thing, yeah.
Fair. And any goals you still have?
Goals. I mean, I said before, like after the Fnatic run of last year, and I mean, people didn't see me really, like I didn't. I mean, I played one game in the final, but and besides groups, obviously I played like we like split scrims. So I saw after the game changed and it was not Korean meta after that, and it was everyone's meta. I saw, is that correct to say, feasible that it was to win walls, and I mean the game still changes, like a lot and things like this, but before that it was harder to think of myself eventually winning walls. But after this year I know that I'm capable of winning walls, so I'm just walking towards eventually sometime winning walls, yeah.
Still, the fire is still there.
I mean, like when it was Korean meta, like it was more like a dream, It was be like you just really don't care that much about it, It was like whatever, right? But then you just play. Then the game changes and you play all those teams, and I mean, obviously, like I didn't play everyone on stage, but judging from like scrims and playing all those teams, like I was like, like I'm still really good at the game, So I think as long as you have like a group of 5 guys that are playing very well together, like as you can see, like for example G2, I think if they have, like they are looking very good right now, but they still need to work very hard and work smart more so to be able to achieve that. So obviously they have a good shot, at taking the trophy, yeah.
Winning it all, but they need still some synergy. But in general, if you have 5 guys that work well together, they always have a chance.
As long as you have 5 guys that have really good synergy. I mean, 5 guys are good individually and have really good synergy. Then I think you have a good chance of making it. So yeah.
When we spoke after an EU LCS match, you said that you wanted to play one more game than Double Lift. That was like your goal at the time.
No,
so you're the oldest.
Play longer, yeah.
Yeah, so you would be the longest active player.
I mean, just at the end of the day, just who have the bigger dick, you know, like.
So yeah, I'm still very excited for that race to eventually. I mean, Double Lift is not gonna step down anytime soon, I think.
Yeah, but he's also 1 year older than me.
So that's what you're banking on.
Maybe he will die sooner.
The year is 2065. You know, you come there with gray hair, and then you're like, Double Lift. I've been waiting for you, and you're like.
No, I mean, it's really not like that. Like I don't view it as like. I don't make it like a Double Lift or me thing. It's just like we're just the 2 oldest player, right? So.
Yeah. It's just banter.
It's just nice that there is still someone from back then. I mean, back then we were playing very different position and things like this. But yeah, it's nice, and I think even there's always this, like, I don't know if it's correct, like stigma, you know, about like, it's so weird. Like, I just want to talk a bit about this. Like, people think that when you get old, you get worse, but people keep just a fact that it's absolutely not true, you know. So it would be nice if people educate themselves a little bit, you know, about what's right or not. There's still like people older than me that are so insane at other games, you know, and maybe some. I don't know why. I think maybe it's just in terms of like regions and on how people perceive. For example, I was, you know, like Gorilla was afraid, you know. For example, I mean, I don't know if I can talk about this, but I mean, I think it's nice to talk about it. Hopefully, we'll be fine with it, but. You know, he was scared of going back to Korea and just not, like he still have 1 year left before going to the army. So I was very sad, you know, that it, like, for me, like, I don't care that much about it. Like, I'm confident that, I'm confident in my own ability to, that I'm still capable to be on top, you know, in Europe, and I know that I'm playing good. I know that I'm confident in myself. That I will be there, you know, once again. But for him, he was telling me, you know, all the view is in Korea that, like, you know, it's always like young, you know, like young talent and young people and stuff like this. So their view in Korea of like having older player is not very good, you know. It's like once you're like a certain age, you know, like you just do something else, you know. So I think it was very very sad but hopefully it changes, you know, sometime, and people realize, especially teams, you know, maybe in other regions or whatever, that it's not the case, you know. They're still, regardless of all you are, maybe not, you know, 50 or whatever, but if you're 25 plus, like you still can be the best at any game, really.
I mean, you look at other esports, you look at fighting games, you look at CSGO, you look at just NA, you know, Team Liquid is by far, I think, the oldest team. Maybe with 100 Thieves, because they're pretty old on average, even though Fake got...
Team Liquid have 2 of the oldest player, I guess, because Double Lift is 26 and...
Smithy is 28?
28, maybe, yeah.
And then, like, Core JJ isn't young.
Yeah, probably I mean, that's pretty insane, yeah.
Yeah, I think the average age of that team is like 25.6 or something like that. So.
Yeah, and impact as well. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, but people sometimes say that, but it feels like people say that, but not everyone picks up on it, you know? People don't come to a realization that, okay, this is, you know, this is just normal. But also maybe people just think that it's just a bit better investment, you know, that just like breed like young talents or whatever.
I mean, also I always felt like a bit that it's kind of validation when people in the early esports days still try to validate esports as sports. And so you'd go, you know, hey, once you hit 25 you're just out because the physical component is so strong. And like people were telling themselves that because we needed esports to be proper sports thing to the public.
And people just like are just thinking this is the only way, you know, like, but yeah, I think there's, for, you know, the oldest player right now, there's still many years, you know, to as long as it's your main focus, and as long as as long as it's your main focus in life, you know, that you still want to be the best, and you still want to you know, to compete, then there's no issue. But if you don't value like competing as highly, or just winning and, you know, this kind of things, then you're not gonna want to do that at some point, or you're just gonna become worse at it.
That's the natural way of life. Once the mentality is the most important.
Yeah, exactly.
So, we've been speaking for a long time. Is there anything else you would like to plug? Anything you would want to say? Anything that was deep on your heart that you wanted to mention?
I didn't think of anything that I wanted to say really. If you guys want to watch me, try to stream as much as possible. As I said earlier, I'm playing in houses and it's pretty fun. So if you guys want to watch, it's twitch.tv/sOAZ.
I thought sOAZ is good. That's the one.
No, sOAZ is my Twitch, because sOAZ good was my Twitter handle, because sOAZ was taken, and Twitch was the same thing, sOAZ was taken, so there's a lot of variation of sOAZ, you know, because every time it's taken. Yeah.
Maybe you just need to inform someone at Twitch. Maybe that would be a good call.
Maybe.
maybe. When you have a bit more time. I think that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for your time. Make sure, of course, to follow him on Twitter, because you don't have enough Twitter followers already.
No, I need more brand new ones. And make sure to follow him on Twitch as well, of course. You heard the URL. Besides that, of course, make sure to also subscribe to this channel if you watched all the way. Of course.
1.5 hours almost. Actually insane.
Fantastic. It feels like the old school interviews. I love it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. We need to do more of these. Just like, because the LEC, you know, after LEC a match, you know, people are still busy with the game. They're still reflecting. Only 10 minutes time for me as well. Otherwise, you get kicked out by Riot. And this is nice and chill. So if you want to support this, also we have a Patreon. We have a sponsor, Brain Effect. All the links are in the description and in the plugged pinned comment, of course. So thank you to all the people that make this possible. Thank you to sOAZ for his time, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye. We'd especially like to thank Krzysztof Bujnowicz, Erich Althaus, Lukas Legal, Lazy Raven, and Adam Novosviat for your continuous and very special support, and of course all the people whose names you see scrolling past you right now. We have a lot of amazing projects, and of course Worlds 2019 in Europe coming up. So thank you so much for supporting us and enabling us to do our work. Thank you.